Me a minute. I'll let you know. All right, whenever you're ready.
How can basketball aid in bridging gender inequality and discrimination? Participating in sports can be beneficial to participants' physical, social, emotional, and mental well-being, as well as beneficial to society and the injustices that currently exist. The advantages linked with sports participation are countless and should be endured by all who choose to engage. However, the world of sports, esports, and athletic activities has proven to add to discrimination unintentionally and the gender divide. Specifically regarding the sport of basketball, basketball can be considered one of the great dividers in men and women's equality, with factors such as pay, leadership, and sponsorship. However, through equal inclusion, education, and empowerment, the sport of basketball is and will continue to assist in closing the gender divide. Basketball has the power to bring awareness and change to social issues as it embraces diversity. Bill Bamberger, a renowned photographer and current teacher at Duke University's Center for Documentary Studies, demonstrated the influence of basketball on a diverse scale through his photography exhibition Hoops. Through this project, Bamberger was able to convey the message of community and diversity through the analysis of his subjects. The project highlights courts from Washington, D.C., to Wilmington, North Carolina, to Harlem, New York, and all the way to Phoenix, Arizona. Through this project, an example of community diversity proves that the sport of basketball has no restrictions. It was designed to be enjoyed by all people of all sizes, shapes, color, and status. So if it can aid in recognizing diversity, then can it also aid in bridging gender inequality? Basketball brings awareness, but there are still areas of inequality that require action to mend. And basketball has the potential to do this. Although women and young girls have been protected by law and granted certain rights, they are still lacking complete equality, especially in sports and especially around the world. In a 2016 TEDx conference at Deerfield Academy, Sarah Du, a Chinese-American student, shared her story of adversity in the world of women's basketball while comparing her experiences growing up in both the United States and China. According to Du's research and first-hand experience, young girls in China and similar countries lack the opportunities to participate in activities like basketball because of the negative stigma surrounding female athletes. Du contrasts these setbacks in China to the opportunities she was granted in America. Du was born in the United States, attended an international school, and participated in basketball in America, and she credits these things as teaching her how to work hard for her goals, be a part of the team, and lead. The denial of participation in sports restricts girls from receiving the education of crucial life skills such as camaraderie and leadership. Du's statements were experimentally proven through her execution of a girls' basketball summer camp. After a week, the girls had learned to take responsibility for their actions, cooperate with their peers, and have confidence in their own abilities as well as the abilities of their teammates. These skills directly correlate with success not only in the athletic world, but in all areas of adolescent and adult life. The United States is ahead of other countries when it comes to women's equality, and they are setting examples on how to empower women. However, there are still major differences, especially at the professional level. On the professional level, the sport of basketball can be viewed as very disproportionate. The NBA is the highest level of basketball that men can reach in the United States. And similarly, the WNBA is the highest level of basketball that women can reach in the United States. So these sibling associations should look quite similar, yet they differ in every way possible. In an article published by the World Sports Network, they describe the measurable differences between the NBA and the WNBA. For example, Stephen Curry, the highest paid NBA player, makes about $40 million a year, and Brittany Griner, the highest paid WNBA player, makes about $113,500 a year. Additionally, the NBA generates about $7.4 billion in revenue, while the WNBA only generates about $60 million in revenue. All these statistics regarding the discrepancies between the WNBA and the NBA can point back to one issue: viewership. If everyday citizens were more willing to watch female athletes, organizations such as the WNBA would generate higher revenues and be able to pay their athletes more. This step of equalizing gender-based athletics can be taken by citizens and should be. The future of worldwide women's equality can begin with one person tuning into a game that they may not have previously chosen to view. Women's empowerment is possible through participation in sports, and advancements have already been made. One way leads to another. A partnership between UN Women and the International Olympic Committee works to change the lives of marginalized girls and young women. They educate girls on life skills while also allowing them to participate in organized sports activities such as basketball. This is important to show young women that they can be leaders while also informing them on crucial life topics. Although one win leads to another has proven to change the lives of many female participants, the director of UN Women states that there is still work to be done. Despite the advancement, because stereotypes and discriminatory social norms, as well as a lack of representation, remain some barriers in women's equality. She advises that there needs to be visible role models of female athletes excelling on their field of play to give young females a belief in their own capabilities. These types of athletes can be embodied in local basketball stars Lauren LaPlante and Kayla Craven. LaPlante is a 2021 senior at Western Carolina University and was a key player in their women's basketball department for 5 years. When asked what advice she would give to young female athletes, LaPlante said, "People may make it seem that your sport isn't as competitive or exciting because you're a girl. This false narrative invalidates the hard work and passion girls and women put into their sport every day. Young girls should be reminded that their sport is just as important and challenging as any male sport." Kayla Craven, the 2020 Appalachian State graduate and women's basketball player, was asked about what hopes she has for the future of women's basketball. She hopes that women's basketball continues to get the respect that it deserves, and says that even in the past couple of years there has been a huge difference in language and praise when talking about women's basketball, which all points back to the solution of increased viewership. However, limitations regarding mindsets and ignorance are still heavily present. An event that occurred this past March proves that inequality still exists, even at the collegiate level. Sedona Prince, an Oregon women's basketball player, highlighted the differences between the men's and women's weight rooms at the NCAA March Madness tournament, and brought about change with a viral TikTok video. In the video, Prince shows the men's weight room, which was spacious and had plenty of machines that they could use to prepare for their games. She then shows the women's weight room, which consisted of a single set of dumbbells and a dozen yoga mats. Prince concluded her video saying, "If you are not upset about this problem, then you are a part of it. For change to happen, it takes voices, lots of voices banding together to prove their point." This video not only got the attention of millions of female athletes, but also the NCAA, who voiced a formal apology and provided an adequate weight room for the remainder of the tournament. This recent issue highlights the problems that still exist and are still holding women back from reaching their full potentials. But it also proves that when people voice their needs, change can be achieved. But women, especially female athletes, will just have to work harder and speak louder to achieve these goals and ensure that they get equal representation and treatment. In conclusion, the sport of basketball has allowed for young women to explore themselves, learn developmental life skills, and empowers them and their peers to strive for greatness and mend the infamous gender gap. Through organizations like One Win Leads to Another and camps executed by Sarah Dew, girls are able to receive crucial education. With role models like Lauren LaPlante and Kayla Craven, girls are inspired to obtain their hopes and dreams. Additionally, being protected by Title IX allows girls to have these opportunities and empowers them to be their most successful selves. This composition of skills, education, empowerment, and protection will aid the younger generation of girls to fight for their equality and push to do their best, all thanks to the influential sport of basketball.
All right, so you're at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's look at these oral defense questions here. Let's see. What evidence did you gather that you did not use, and why did you choose not to use it?
In my research process, I gathered some information through an EBSCO source called Chasing Equity, which was a partnership between sports scientists and sports science professors. And in that, they researched and they analyzed all different aspects of female athletes and female sports. And in that, they came up with some conclusions, including like role models and Title IX and breaking barriers. So I did not include them particularly in my presentation because I covered most of those solutions with my research and additional things, but I did use them to kind of form my, I don't know if you can say, my system of how solutions should be laid out.
Okay. Explain the level of certainty that you have about your conclusion, solution, or recommendation.
I'm very certain that if viewership was up and that if voices were banded together, that you could see change in this. However, those are more theoretical things, and when you rely on people and everyday citizens, you aren't for sure that they're going to participate and up viewership. But if everyone were to, speak louder and watch games, then these organizations would be able to create higher revenues and pay their players more, which would add with empowering their female athletes.
All right, good job. Thank you.